we're not almost there.
Hey guys, welcome to the Massive Iron Channel. I'm Steve Shaw. In this video, we're going to talk about strength standards. Seems like everybody in the world's making a video on strength standards, and you guys have been asking me to chime in, so I'm going to do so in this video. Before I get into this topic, if you have any questions or comments, drop them down below. The best topic ideas I turn into videos just like this. I want to hear what you guys have to say. Leave a comment down below. The best comment's going to win a free t-shirt or Massive Iron hoodie. All right, so let's dive into it. I want to preface this, and this is no disrespect to Alpha Destiny, to Basement Bodybuilding, to Geoffrey, Verity, Schofield, and I see that Stand Strength made a video on it today, I believe. I just saw it while I was sitting on the golden throne, right? So a lot of people talking about it, and I don't want to watch their videos and sway my opinion. I want to share my opinion. I've always been, let's preface things by saying, let's lay the foundation by saying, I like building strength. I like building muscle, and I like building strength. So I like building muscle, but I also like getting as strong as possible. I enjoy both processes. That's what I do on this channel. I show you. You don't have to have the goal to get as strong as humanly possible, but that's kind of one of the focuses of this channel. So it's something I enjoy, right? Something I enjoy. I enjoy being stronger than the average bear. So let's dive into things. I have a lot of notes to the left of my screen here, so if you keep seeing me look over. First and foremost, I want you guys to know, for the first 21 years of my lifting career, I was all about muscle building magazines, muscle building culture, everything. I didn't even hear about powerlifting or even think about strength training as an end goal till around 2007, when I was introduced to Westside and the sport of powerlifting. So most of my mass, nearly all of it, was developed in a bodybuilding construct, in that mindset, in that world, in that culture. A lot of people know me as a power lifter, but I came to powerlifting after 20 years of being in the bodybuilding world. So let's establish that. Now, I never chased strength during my 20 years. I never chased strength for strength's sake. I chased plus ones. What I would do, I started training in 1986, is, and we didn't have manuals, right? We just had these crappy workouts that were like a to-do list, and they didn't even talk about progression back in that day, you know, not really. So I would go in and I hit 95 by 4 on bench. Like, next time I want to try to hit 95 by 5. Next time I want to try to hit 95 by 6. And from this plus one mindset, I started to construct progression approaches, set and rep schemes, etc. So I never chase plus ones, or excuse me, I never chase strength for strength's sake. I always chase plus ones. I always chase progress. I always wanted to get a little bit more than I did last time. Not for any magic reason. That's just how I like to train, and that's just how I did it. Now, how I did this is very, very important to the muscle building process. And I will say this, plus ones are a lost art, okay? Here's what I mean. They involve pushing sets hard and safely to the limit, not necessarily to failure, but when you're chasing plus ones, you have this mentality that I'm going to push a set hard, and generally you push a set pretty hard, but safely. I want you to push a set safely but hard for as many reps as you can. It's kind of a lost art. You don't see many guys pushing deep into sets anymore. And I don't use the term failure. I don't advocate the term failure, training to failure. What I tell folks is, now we have to understand every lift is different. Every lift, the demands of every lift is different. So some lifts are punishing when you try to train to failure, and some lifts aren't. They're more forgiving. What I tell folks as a blanket statement, and I've said this a million times on this channel, is push a set for as many quality reps as possible. Stopping that set when you feel like you're going to fail on the next rep, or when form starts to break down. Okay? And that can be like on a barbell row. If your speed starts to slow while you're rowing, that's form breaking down. So this is a lost art, taking sets deep, taking sets hard. It kind of focuses it focuses on auto-regulated progression. When you do this, the plus ones are going to come naturally. Now, in this environment, when you're chasing plus ones, Like I just said, they automatically drive progression. And this is one of the cornerstones of my coaching. We don't chase strength per se. We focus on plus ones. Now, my strength increases were in conventional muscle building rep ranges. When I was chasing plus ones, or all of my strength gains were in the conventional muscle building rep ranges. They weren't, excuse me, in crazy low rep ranges. I was training in a bodybuilding style. I was trying to get a reasonable number of reps per set. So when I was doing the plus ones, they weren't low rep sets. So what I was doing is combining hard sets with quality rep ranges, more quality bodybuilding rep ranges. Now, my strength increases were also while controlling the weight. And this is an important point, and a point many of you are going to gloss over because maybe you have no context of what it means. But if you watch somebody do lat pull downs, if you watch somebody do pull-ups, if you watch somebody do seated cable rows, if you watch somebody do pec deck, right? Like for me, let's use pec deck, for example. You push, okay? And then you control down. You push, and then you control down. I was very systematic. I was very rhythmic, right? I kept that control. I pulled on the lat pull down, and then I controlled it. I pulled, and then I controlled it. I got that tension, that mechanical tension. I just didn't randomly rush through sets trying to rapidly get as many plus ones as I could. And you see that a lot. So just to backtrack, my plus ones, it encouraged auto-regulated progression, right? You were pushing sets hard, so that's good for bodybuilding. It was in more of a conventional rep range, which is good for bodybuilding, muscle building. And I was controlling the weight, not just trying to rapidly, spaz out and get as many reps as I could. There was control. Mechanical tension, increasing the intensity, the overall intensity of a set. Now, let's step forward a little bit to the topic of strength standards. I posted on Instagram, social media yesterday, and I had some blowback, some voices that, didn't agree with me. That's fine. You guys can believe whatever you want as long as you get results. So, somebody said my strength standards were arbitrary, right? Okay, look, I've been doing this for 38 years. Nothing I put together is pulled out of my ass. Nothing is arbitrary, right? This is from 38 years of it. First off, I put together a strength standards video. I put together many strength standards videos and articles over the years. There's one with Faz on this channel where we both get together and talk about strength standards, and you can just go to the search on YouTube, on my channel, and search strength standards, and you'll be able to find it. Now, my strength standards are not arbitrary. Arbitrary implies, and someone said they were, or implied they were, that I pulled them out of my ass, okay? They're baseless. They're not founded on anything. Like, I didn't just wake up one day and pull strength standards out of my ass and say, hey, here's strength standards. I hope you can get as strong as me or him or the other guy, because if not, you're probably not going to build muscle. No. I've been around lifting for 38 years. I've written articles from everything from Critical Bench in the mid-'70s. I was around the early days of Elliot Hulse at Critical Bench. I was around the early days of Vince Del Monte, of Sean Nalawani. All these guys were around in that time, in their infancy. It was kind of the infancy of what we have now. I wrote for Critical Bench. I wrote for Female Muscle. I had a huge website called Muscle and Brawn, which had one of the most popular lifting forums on the internet. I went on to write for Muscle and Strength. I went on to write for Tiger Fitness. I've written over 1,000 articles. I've made nearly 3,000 videos. Not only that, but in my time in the industry, I have traveled, I have worked with, and I even have helped YouTubers develop a career, right? I was there with Alan Roberts when he started. I didn't do the hard work, but I gave him some guidance. Vic Costa, Vic's Natural. I was there in New York encouraging Vic how to grow his YouTube channel, right? I've met with guys all over the place. I've traveled around the United States. That's a better way to say it. And I've met with everybody you can imagine. With Muscle and Strength, I would travel and film. Mr. Minnesota, these videos are on Muscle and Strength. Mr. North Carolina, I met with Stu Yellen from T-Nation. Stu was a big guy at T-Nation. I met with all these guys. And when I worked with Tiger Fitness and Muscle and Strength, these guys would come in on a daily basis. I developed content and video ideas from everybody from, Mike Rashid to C.T. Fletcher to God knows what. I've talked to John Meadows. It was my job in content to work with these guys. Now, the non-natties aside, I got to work with an endless amount of natties that were close to their potential, where most people want to be. Not only competitors, male and female, but also transformation stories. In my time in the industry, I've gotten to work with tons of transformation stories. And here's the long-winded point. These people are freaking strong, okay? I've never met anybody with a lot of muscle mass that wasn't a lot stronger than you would suspect. Now, did they all line up with my strength standards? No, of course not. Of course not. There's obviously some variance. We are not ignorant. We don't make blanket rules because we're not fools. But we know that strength standards are good standards because they're not arbitrary. Because if we look at the body of work, all these people I've met with, right? All these people I've met with over the years, trained with, talked with, they're all pretty damn strong, right? So my strength standards came not arbitrarily pulled out of my ass, but in this huge body of work. Now, there's some variants. There's Shomo, who is a mince physique guy that's locally here in Cincinnati. I believe he's a pro. He used to come by Tiger Fitness all the time. He's shorter than me. He's like 5'5", but super muscular. And even though he didn't reach my strength standards on bench, he was, for 5'5", and like 145 pounds, a dude was benching like 275 by 3, okay? So that's just an example. So the arbitrary point, wash it away. Somebody said, you get comments, strength standards don't matter. Yes, they do. We can't be black and white, right? That's silly. We can't. One of the major problems with the fitness industry is that it goes black and white on everything. It's either yes or no. No, this is not a black and white thing, right? We can't just say they don't matter. That's juvenile. It doesn't help with the discussion. Now, let me move on, because the video is already getting longer than I wanted. I teach get a lot stronger than you are now. This is required. It's called progressive overload. You can't not get a lot stronger than you are now and expect to build muscle, okay? So we understand that. You must get a lot stronger than you are now to get close to your natural limit. Where that falls, we're not even going to get into it. Number 2, progressive overload requires time, okay? This is important. Progressive overload is not a variable that exists by itself. It requires applying progressive overload over time. These two factors work hand in hand. You can't progressively overload for 2 months or 6 months and get big. Progressive overload involves a long period of time. Why is this important? Because if you are progressive overloading over a long period of time, you're going to string together a lot of plus ones, and therefore the strength standards are based on the concept that we have progressive overload applied over a long period of time, a lot of steps, and all these steps, when they add up, lead to about where the strength standards are, okay? About. Now, all muscle building techniques this is important. All muscle building techniques resort back to progression. You can do volume, you can do supersets, you can do rest pause, you can do any crazy shenanigans, 1 set per exercise to failure. But at the end of the day, they all resort back to progressive overload. You can't just go to 40 sets for chest and never attack plus ones or weight progression. You're going to have to eventually, because the body will acclimate to that volume. Same thing with rest pause. You can go into the gym today and just do the bulldozer rest pause system, but eventually the body's going to acclimate if you don't start to push for plus ones or weight. So everything, no matter how you train, has to be on that progressive overload of weight foundation. You can't avoid that. Now, there is a huge tendency to stop, slow, quit, stop pushing as hard when someone gets in that early intermediate stage of lifting because the weight starts to feel heavy. So strength standards ensure that you, who are at that early intermediate stage, or that lifter, continues to push because you're like, I'm not quite strong enough. This is where guys kind of get some quality beginner gains, 5, 8, 10 pounds of muscle, and they kind of slow down. It's the difference between the next 10 to 15 pounds of muscle mass. That's really when you see strength explode, because it's not the strength that's driving it. It's this mental strength. I'm not going to quit because the weight feels heavy. Now, finally, okay, we'll get you guys out of here. Strength is a byproduct of proper training. Strength is a byproduct of proper training and not the end goal. Okay, we're not chasing strength. It's a byproduct of proper training. It can't be removed from the equation, and there's no way to circumvent the need to progress in strength. No way. Strength standards exist not as arbitrary numbers, but to tell you the following. You need a certain reasonable number of steps forward, plus ones, using proper hypertrophy training to get big. The stuff I mentioned earlier in this video. I would control the weight. I would take sets to the limit. I would use conventional bodybuilding techniques and rep ranges, etc. So you need a certain number of steps forward using proper hypertrophy training to get big. There will obviously be variance, but strength standards are a great tool to help guide you if you are training properly, and with strength standards will help guide you if you are training properly with good form, because if you're not using good form, you're probably not going to get a lot out of those squats and deadlifts and other lifts. Good control, that good mechanical tension. If you're training with consistency, with quality nutrition and sleep. If all those things are in play, then you're in a good place. So guys, again, let me know what you think. Drop a comment down below. So guys, hope this video has been of some help. If you have any questions or comments, drop them down below. If you made it this far in this video and have yet to subscribe to my channel, please do. I'd appreciate the support. So guys, as always, thanks for watching. Have a great day.